What's up guys, this is my review of the newly released GAN555, the GAN562M, and I did about 200 solves to break it in, because the out-of-the-box performance it felt good, but it was way too blocky, and people said I need to do a few hundred solves to break it in. And in the box there's just a card, a box, and an accessory box with things I will never use, a pamphlet, a cube bag and a screwdriver. Okay, the white box is very cool because you can push here and it pops open like this. But that's basically it. I will never open that box again, realistically. So I have an out-of-the-box song with maybe 5 solves. The cube feels very, very good, with the inner lace being very good, but the cube is overall way too blocky. The cutting is, not even 2 pieces. And reverse corner cutting is a little less than 1 piece on the out-of-the-box song and on the out-of-the-box GAN555, and on the setup one, corner cutting reaches about 45 with a lot of effort and luck, and reverse it is about 1 piece, but it also takes a bit of effort compared to the Hong. On this one. The Hong has a little worse maximum reverse corner cutting, but small angles cut much nicer. So this is what actually matters, because I don't think you will ever, especially with a core magnetic 555, be misaligned by this much and try to do reverse corner cut. What really matters is the small angles, and here it is much more snappier and not as smooth. And yeah, also forward cuts on the Hong are much smoother. So I think the 3x3 stage, and my experience with 3x3 stage on Hong is better than on the GAN, and the inner layers on the GAN are better than on the Hong. And I will compare in this video the GAN555 to other flagship cubes, for example the Outrun WRM, which is in this case core magnetic, because the other cubes are core magnetic, so I thought this would be the most fair comparison. And the Volk, even though this is not Chi's flagship anymore, which is the Hong, it's still very, very good, and I can get very good times with it, so I think it's still worth it to give this a shot. Because the out-of-the-box GAN555 was too fast, or is too fast, and overshot a lot, I had to do a little bit of setup, even though this cube already felt good, with pi loop 100k, pi loop yellow, and pi loop black, just to slow it down and give it a nicer feeling. And I also loosened the tensions by about half of a turn. No, not half a turn, 1/4 of a turn. So if you look at it, the white and yellow basically do not matter for me, but green for me is too bright compared to other cubes, like the Hong and the Outrun. And red and orange are also a little bit too light for me. Or maybe it's the finishing, but compared to the Outrun and the Hong, I definitely prefer the color shades of those two. When it comes to the height of the cube or the size, the GAN555 and the Volk are both 62mm, and the Outrun is 61 and the Hong is 60.8mm. So I prefer the size of these two cubes compared to those, but I think it's just personal preference and how much you're used to these cubes. So I see myself basically also preferring those two sizes if I solved on them much more regularly and much more often compared to those sizes. The cube with setup weighs 129 grams. The Volk weighs 140 grams, so it's much heavier. And the Hong weighs 130 grams. And the Outrun WM weighs 137 grams. So the GAN5 is the lightest one, and it also has very light turning, even though it is bigger than the Hong and the Outrun WM. which is very cool because you can do much longer cubing sessions with a cube that feels lighter and is easier to turn. But the problem I have with the GAN5 at the moment is that due to its lightness and its blockiness, I can't turn with 100% energy, because if I do so, it will be blocky and doesn't want to turn smoothly compared to the Volk, even though this is also blocky. And the Hong is much less blocky and wants to turn much easier when I'm basically going full power. Maybe it's because those two are set up with a slower setup than this one, because this out of the box is already very fast. But I think people who have a lighter turning style would prefer the GAN. I think I can also dump this loop full of 2x 50k or so and make it very, very slow and good for my turning style, so I can go all out and the cube will just do what I want it to do. So now I'm going to do one solve on each cube to determine which cube is the best one and provides the best results, because everyone in the whole world knows that one solve is plenty to do so. That was of course not serious. I think the GAN5 feels a lot like other GAN cubes, but I don't have a lot of GAN cubes. It's just what I experienced when trying out cubes from other competitors at comps. If you like that feeling, then that's very nice. It feels very light, very airy. And with a good setup, it also gets less blocky, and with more break-in, it also gets less blocky, which is a very good upside, because at first I had a lot of problems. I was averaging like 3 seconds slower compared to the Hong, which should probably be fixed after break-in. So my personal opinion, the GAN and the Hong are more enjoyable to solve than the Ouchong and the Volk. This one is lighter and a little bit faster than the Hong, and the inners and the outers are about the same speed, and in the Hong the inners are slower than the outers, which a lot of people might not like, but I don't really care, because I just prefer the cube that provides me the best results and I can turn how I want on. And yeah, so just get one of those two if you don't know which one to get and you go to comp. So just ask people who have those cubes if you can try those, and yeah, just think for yourself which cube you prefer. But you can't go wrong with either of those. I think the GAN is a bit more expensive than the Hong, but it's also GAN, so that's to be expected. And yeah, that's my opinion. Both are very great. GAN, very enjoyable, light, fast. A little bit blocky at first, but it gets better. Yeah, you can get it at the Package Shop. Yeah, I'm sponsored. Use code MARKZ for 40% off. And yeah, that's my opinion. Very nice.